Hey you guys, it's Monica and welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a lovely Starbucks cold cup tutorial. Doing like a drip with sprinkles and some new chunky glitter and all that good stuff. So I have my Starbucks cold cup. I have these sprinkles called Alakazam. They are from Counterculture DIY. This Counterculture DIY needs to go ahead and pay your girl for this video because I am plugging their products hard. Okay. This is the glitter I'm going to be using. You're probably like, Mon, like, whose glitter is this? Why is it in this bag? Like, girl, that's my glitter. It's in that bag because it don't have a name. But yeah, I thought this was a really cute color combo. And I'm like, okay. And just a sneak peek, you guys, this is a new glitter. And a lot of those colors you see in that sprinkle mix are going to be coming out in that same chunky hollow style. So once I figure out all the names, they will definitely be released. And so I'm going to do this Mod Podge style. And so I'm going to just go ahead and clean off the cup. And so I did cover up the logo because I do want to keep the logo. The logo dimensions are the height is 2 inches and the width is 2.188, I believe. You can just Google it. It's on the internet. A lot of y'all be leaving a comment asking me what's the dimensions. Like, girl, by the time I see this comment and respond tomorrow, you could have just Googled it. But I think those are the dimensions. Don't quote me. So yeah. So y'all, and so when I went to go get these Starbucks cups, the Texas storm had hit, and I'm in Colorado, and like, you know, they're like our neighbor, just with a little bit of New Mexico separating us. And so yeah, I had a really hard time trying to find these two little cups, and so just be aware of that. What you see me doing right now is I'm not taking the glue all the way up to the top because I want to make sure that the lid can snap on without breaking the epoxy seal. So you don't need to take it all the way to the top, and I found that a Q-tip is the perfect length to kind of wiggle in there and like create the perfect amount that you need to leave out, and so that you don't, you know, mess it up. So I'm gonna just go ahead and dump this on here. And I just wiped off a little bit on the vinyl just so I can make sure I have like a spot to pull it up with, that my weeding tool wouldn't be like slipping and sliding. Like, you don't need to do that if like you trust yourself, but you know, I'll be trying to help myself out just a wee little bit. Because if y'all seen my last drip cup tutorial, you would know the struggles that I go through when it comes to these products. And so this one, it was easier, and I've learned a lot, and I'll share the couple of things that, you know, I've learned since the last video y'all saw. But yeah, and I'm just going in with a gloved hand to lay down the glitter flat. Chunky glitter, you always want to do this step, because if you don't, you risk, you know, some of the glitter sticking up and then it making it hard to epoxy, and then you'll have to like sand it down, and you don't want to do all that. So just do this and save yourself a little bit of time, a little bit of material. You don't have to do it with a gloved hand. I just like to do it with a gloved hand because I just do. I actually seen somebody doing it with freezer paper. I'm not that brave. I'm really heavy-handed, and I feel like in my mind I would like grip it and slide off all the glitter and have to re-epoxy it. So I'm not going to do that. And I also did the bottom of this cup in case you guys were wondering. But yeah, I'm trying to get better. If you guys don't know, just like really quick on like a personal note, I am a full-time engineer. That is what I went to school for. That is what I do as my full-time job. But I'm actually, in January, I started an aesthetics program. So I am going back to school to earn my license in aesthetics. And so I will be an esthetician out here in Colorado. So look out for your girl if you're in the area and you're going to be needing some skincare treatments. And so I'm trying to become more gentler because I've done like, I feel like an unlimited amount of facials at this point. So definitely it's helped me in that regard, just being more gentle and things like that. Just has nothing to do with this, but kind of just, I'm letting y'all know I'm getting better with my glitter touch, essentially. And so that's how everything looks after I cleaned everything up. And so I love how it looks. I hate that with the ball in it right now, you can't see that purple color popping, but you will see it all at the end. And when I tell y'all, these glitters are just freaking beautiful. So I'm going to go in with a quick coat. And this is also Counterculture DIY. I told y'all, I pay for all this stuff myself. Send your girl some things, Counterculture DIY. Hook me up. Hook my people up. Give them a discount code. Okay. But yeah, that's also why my nails have been so short. So I know you guys, a lot of times you guys make very lovely comments about my nails and you tell me how much you like them, and I really appreciate that. Because I do my nails myself. But unfortunately, when you're in an aesthetics program, you are not allowed to have long nails. And so I actually got in trouble my very first day in clinic because they told me the length y'all see my nails at, they were just a wee bit longer. They told me they were too long. And I was pissed because I'm like, if I get sent home on my first day, I'm dropping out of the program. Like, I'm one of those really dramatic ass people. But yeah, that's why my nails have been so short. And just nude, in case anyone was wondering why my nails have been just plain Jane for the last few months. But yeah, anyways, the quick coat, completely optional. I left it in the video. That's why I'm talking past the whole thing. You can do it if you want. I feel like it helps you. Like, honestly, when you use the quick coat and you have a chunky glitter, you can do one coat and really get away with it. So you still have to do two, of course, if you're doing like a vinyl. But yeah, one coat of epoxy is what I mean. But yeah, I love that stuff. I think it's awesome and amazing, and I think it's a great investment for a cup business. And so all this part is just like really run of the mill, y'all, for real. And so you also just saw me clean off the logo. When I make Starbucks cups, I like my logo to be like not with glitter or anything on it. Some people don't care about like the glitter being over the logo. I don't know. For me, y'all let me know how y'all like y'all. Do you mind if you get glitter on your logo and you epoxy it in? Or do you clean your logo off and you just like it nice and clean? I personally like mine nice and clean. So you did see me do that in the last clip while I was talking y'all's ear off. So yeah. And so I'm just doing the drop and catch method. Same rules apply as always. Just take your time. Make sure you're moving it where you want it to go. You don't need to pour a lot. Really quickly also, there's going to be someone in the comments, I'm sure, that's going to tell me that you cannot epoxy plastic. Okay, that is your personal opinion, girl. You're welcome to it. I tell you guys all the time, I'm an engineer. I'm not a scientist. I have done the research. I have looked up what could happen if on like an epoxy cup like that. Me personally, based on the research I've done, I am not worried about it. You know, this epoxy is not going to break down this cup and end up in my drink. That is not going to happen. If you are some Nobel Peace Prize winning scientist and you know better, please correct me. But if you're just Molly off the street, go back to watching your kids. I'm just playing. But yeah, you're entitled to your opinion, but don't try to tell me I can't do something, or please don't tell other people. Direct people to do research is what I'm saying. I'm moving on. Anyways, and so yeah, go ahead and epoxy this cup, and all with the Mod Podge, make sure you're going around that rim with a Q-tip. Don't want to get that epoxy up there because you're going to use the Q-tip to really just kind of create a seal, and you don't want it to go up under the rim because when you snap your lid on, it'll break that seal and it'll mess with the integrity of your cup, and we don't want that. So just something to keep in mind. So here I am going in with the Q-tip. You can also use it just a plain Q-tip. In my opinion, when you use one without any alcohol on it, it tends to drag a little bit. So yeah, and I'm also going around the rim because I did get a little epoxy up there, and that's also covered in alcohol as well. And then I'm just going to hit it with the heat gun for a couple of revolutions. The artist resin is pretty thick, and so I don't want to burn it or anything. So yeah, just a couple of revolutions usually does it good. All right, the next day, we are ready to do our drip. So that is titanium dioxide. Please ignore the bottle. If you guys see my last struggle cup video, I don't even know if I showed it in that video. This bottle of titanium dioxide fell into all the extra that I had left over. It fell into it, and that's why it's stuck on there like glue. And so yeah, y'all know I'm not perfect. I can't be perfect. I don't know what perfect is. I'm perfectly imperfect, and I love it. So yeah, so I'm just gonna add titanium dioxide as my like white colorant. The nice and thick also gives it like a milky, but I wanted it like very like sprinkled donut, white icing colored. And so yeah, I went with this titanium dioxide. Again, if you only had the nice and thick, you can just use that and it will be kind of just more milky. Or also as an alternative, I'll also have mixed in acrylic paint into epoxy, and that'll work as well. I just feel like acrylic paint just separates a little more easier, and you just have to work a little quicker. That's just my opinion, so I do prefer using mica powders. So this is the Nice and Thick, again, Counterculture DIY. Oh, and I didn't even tell y'all, that was the Counterculture DIY artist resin. So 4 of their products in this video. Y'all call me. My email's on my about page. And so, yeah, I'm going to add a couple of scoops. If y'all saw the last video I did, y'all know I mixed up a bunch of epoxy and then I added half the bottle of the Nice and Thick. I knew not to do that this time, and I wasn't going to do that this time. So my only complaint, and the thing I still don't understand about this product, is like, I don't feel like it instantly makes it thick. Am I the only one? And so I added the Nice and Thick pretty much like maybe within 5 minutes after I mixed it. Yeah, I added titanium dioxide, I added the Nice and Thick. Like, even now when you're looking at it, you're like, that's not much of a difference. It's not that thick. And so what I like to do is I just let it sit. And so literally, this is an hour later. And finally, I feel like it's the consistency that I've been looking for, because initially, like, it wasn't thick. It was just going to run straight down the cup. And so that's just my suggestion. And so I started to add in the sprinkles. And then, like, at this point, where you see me just like drop the sprinkles, and I'm like, wait, I'm gonna mix this in, and the icing is going to cover the sprinkles, so you're not gonna be able to see the color. I'm like, I'm worried about that later. Like, I'm gonna just worry about it later. And so I did go ahead. I let my husband pick the vinyl color. Yeah, this is the cup, you guys. Didn't even show y'all that. I was ready to get to work when I came in. So here I go, already messing up. So if something like that happens to you, you drip some of your epoxy on your cup. Have you a saturated paper towel that is saturated in alcohol next to you. And then you can just wipe it off like you see me doing. So that's just a little tip when you're doing these kind of drips or anything like that, where you kind of need to be able to control what you're doing and you don't like how it's going. Wipe it off with a bunch of alcohol. The alcohol won't mess up the epoxy underneath. Don't use acetone, because acetone will start to eat away at the epoxy underneath. So that's why I'm using alcohol. It's because, sometimes I know some people don't know, like, what's the right situation to use, alcohol or epoxy. Alcohol or epoxy. Acetone or alcohol. The acetone, I'm sorry. If I've been saying epoxy, I am sorry. The acetone will eat away at the epoxy that's already on the cup. You don't want to do that. So use alcohol. And so I'm just laying this on here around the rim. I'm trying to get it right at the line that I laid down. And so just something also to be aware of when you're doing these drips. Don't hold your cup too cockeyed, if that makes sense. Like, try to just hold it like parallel, because your drips will start to go in the direction in which you're holding your cup. And you do kind of have to work fast doing this part, because you don't want your drips to start going in a swirl pattern. You want them to come down straight. So you kind of have to go ahead and get it around the rim and stand your cup up, because the longer you keep your cup horizontal, they'll start to move, like swirl themselves around the cup, because gravity does what gravity does. And so it's just something to keep in mind. So try to get this on here. You don't gotta like rush. But I say get it done within a few minutes. So yeah, and I'm gonna show you guys one more little thing that I did to kind of help my struggle bus self with everything I be messing up. So yeah, but take your time, but get it on there. And so just like a little tip also, when you're doing something like adding sprinkles inside of something like this, always make sure you are considering the weight that you added to the product. By that I mean that you see how long I waited for it to get thick. And I still had to wait that long because the sprinkles add weight to a very light product. And so it's going to help those drips move further down the cup. And here I am. I'm just going to go around the rim really quick and make sure I clean up everything at the top. And then I'll come back in with the pops with still more product and make sure I'm just kind of meeting it to make it all look even. But anyways, so consider that the added weight to the epoxy mixture is going to make the drips move more. And so say you had waited all that time and it's like thick like that and that's how you like it, and you're like, okay, these drips aren't going to like be very long, like it's going to be like more whipped creamy as opposed to like melted whipped cream, you know what I mean? But if you add something to it, gravity is going to do what gravity does. it's going to pull it down more. And even me, I added extra sprinkles, so it's going to pull it down even more. So just keep that in mind for thinking about how you want your design to be if you're going to be adding something. Now, if you're not going to be adding something, of course, you're still going to have some of that movement, but it won't be nearly as much movement because you won't be fighting gravity and weight and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That's all I have to say on that subject. So this is what I was talking about. I'm just going back around the cup and making sure I'm meeting it around the rim so there's not like a gap. So I want it to only be like white around the rim where the frosting is at the top. I don't want to be able to see any of the glitter underneath. So that's all I'm doing right here. And just really quickly, I want to show you guys this. So I went and I added more sprinkles because I'm like, of course, like I already knew when I started mixing them sprinkles in, like, girl, you can't see them sprinkles. So what did I do? I went and doused this bad boy in sprinkles because I love sprinkles. Like even like just on like soft serve ice cream, like rainbow jimmies, like that's all I mean. Do you say jimmies or do you say sprinkles? Please leave a comment below. So yeah, but you can definitely control the location of the sprinkles. Just use your weeding tool, or you can use like tweezers or anything like that and get everything where you want it to go. Or if you want to remove some, like that drip was just really heavy at the bottom. And so I had noticed that it was covering the lady's face, and I don't want my beautiful mermaid lady covered. And so just go back to what I told you guys. So I'm literally using my weeding tool, and I am wiping away the drips I don't like. So believe it or not, yes, you can do that. You can recontrol the drip, or if you have a drip that's too thick, you can wipe away some of that thickness like on the side and then come in with a Q-tip covered in alcohol and just smooth it out. You don't have to be stuck with how the drip looks. I have learned that because you guys remember in my last one, I ended up having to remove all of the drips. And so I figured out by now that I don't have to remove the drips I don't like. I just have to learn how to control them. And so I didn't want her face covered. And so I removed the drip that was covering her face. And I'm wiping all this away with alcohol. And yeah, I'm going to make sure that I'm like moving like any kind of like, again, gravity. So think about those little pieces of sprinkles that are still hanging out and how they're going to move downward. So, you know, just some things to keep in mind. But you can definitely control how this looks when it's still in this state. So at this point, maybe my epoxy with the nice and thick has been mixed up for about an hour and a half. You low-key still got like 30 minutes to an hour to really manipulate this kind of stuff, believe it or not, before it like kind of set in place and it would become like harder to move and remove. You would have to like definitely be in like a super like scrubber situation at that point. But yeah, like I felt like I couldn't see the A in my name, so you didn't know how like my name was Monica. It looked like IOO. And so it didn't look like Monio. I'm just coming back in and I'm just manipulating it and I'm moving it around so it looks like how I want it to look. So yeah, you can do that. Don't think you're stuck with how the drips look, or if like I just wanted to cut all the drips off and kind of just keep it low like how you see right here. You can do that, believe it or not. Just always come back in with the Q-tip with the alcohol cover to just move out your lines. And so this is how it looks. I am in love. This thing is so pretty. Like, I'm like, this is so springy. It's so beautiful. I love it. You guys know what I really want to do at this point? DIY. Counterculture DIY makes that polyscope stuff where you can like make like shape like donuts and scoops of ice cream and stuff. I really want to get some of that stuff and try to make like some type of sweet treat and cover it in those same sprinkles and put it as a lid topper. Am I crazy, or do y'all want to see that? I'm not that artistic. Like, I'm not like an artist. Like, I can't like sculpt. But like, I'm willing to like try a mold or something. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, if y'all want to see that, definitely let me know. I think that I've seen a couple of cups like that. Like, I've seen a Dunkin' Donut. Tell me if you've seen the Dunkin' Donut one. I've seen the Dunkin' Donut one with like the donut on top and like the really pretty Dunkin' Donuts cup. I thought that was gorgeous. So as far as this application, I'm still doing the drop and catch method, but I'm kind of moving my finger up and down, back and forth to kind of help me get over those drips, but also get the product over those drips. And so because you kind of just try to hold your hand there like I normally do, you're just going to be creating more friction and more resistance. So, you know, you got to just improvise a little bit. So just move your finger back and forth a little bit to help yourself get over all them humps and bumps and dumps and trucks and all that stuff. And so, yeah. So I'm just doing this. There's nothing special about this. This is just plain old epoxy. And again, it's the Counterculture DIY artist resin. So it's a thicker resin. In case anyone was wondering, someone's going to ask me how much of each side did I measure out. Okay, let's think back really quick. For the drips, I did 7.5 mils of each side for a total of 15 mils. For the first layer of epoxy, I did 10 mils of each side, which was way too much. I could have probably did 5 to 7.5 mils of each side for a total of 10 to 15 for that first layer to cover up the initial layer of the cup. For this final layer, I did 10 mils of each side, and that was the perfect amount. So those are the measurements, in case you were wondering. And if someone's going to still ask in the comment, and I'm probably going to reply that you didn't watch the video, please don't let that be you. And so I'm just going to hit it a couple times with the heat gun. Usually on this layer, I like to focus on the name because I do not like bubbles on top of my vinyl. And so I make a really good effort to make sure I'm popping all those bubbles before I choose to walk away. And this is the final product, you guys. I am beyond satisfied. Like this cup, I told my husband, I need to go back to making cups. I need to be able to make these for people. And he told me no, not till I finish school. So yeah, anyways, if you like these kind of videos, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I would love for you to join the Period 6 Designs family. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Period 6 Designs. You can also follow me on TikTok. I'm over there with the young kids, y'all, at Period 6 Glitter. And I will see you guys in the next one.